Hello everyone, Panda here, and welcome back to a rant video, and today we're talking about ArcheAge and ArcheAge Unchained. Now, just for the basics of what I'm going to talk about in this video, ArcheAge is coming back, it's being re-released, it's being rebranded under a new name, ArcheAge Unchained. They have new publishers, Gamingo. Instead of Trion Worlds, they bought out Trion Worlds, and they're making ArcheAge, but without a pay-to-win, without any sort of way to actually pay money to increase your power. They're taking away the free-to-play and they're making it buy-to-purchase. So you buy it one time, you have a permanent subscription forever, you're on an even playing field with everyone else, and there is no way to buy power into the game. And I'll get into that in a little bit, but first of all, I'm just going to explain the game and why I love it so much to anyone that's new here that does not know what ArcheAge is. But if you're already familiar with the game, take the timestamp on the screen to go to later in the video where I'm talking about the new stuff. So ArcheAge is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game similar to World of Warcraft or similar games like that, Final Fantasy, etc. It's been out in Korea for a number of years and it came to the West in 2014. ArcheAge is a game that's all about the server, it's all about the community, about guilds, about playing with friends, working together to achieve something. As someone who's been playing MMOs since around the year 2000, I started off with Ultima Online, then of course moving over to all sorts of things, World of Warcraft, etc, etc. I can firmly and very confidently say that ArcheAge is one of the best games and definitely the best MMO that I've ever played in my life. So let's see what ArcheAge offers that other MMOs in the genre cannot seem to compare to. The class system in ArcheAge is done in a way that most other MMOs don't seem to have. In this, you pick 3 classes while you are leveling up. There are 9 classes in total, and you can mix and match any of these. So there are 165 different classes in ArcheAge that you can play, and some of them obviously are completely trash. You could take 3 terrible builds, but each one has its own name. And if you synergize them together, they can be pretty damn impressive and powerful. And also a really cool system is that you can switch out these talents for other things and level them up. So you could eventually get to the point where you've learned every single talent tree in the game, got it all the way leveled up, and you could on the fly go and respec and change into any build that you wanted. So if people need a tank, you can step up. If they need a healer, you can step up if you have the gear, of course. And you can do basically anything you want. The combat system is incredibly fast-paced, very, very twitchy, with so many different abilities and combos and different classes in the game. Learning these and actually perfecting them and learning how to combo and counter other setups is just incredibly rewarding and teaches you over time. And it's got a real learning curve to it that really does feel satisfying. So let's talk about factions next, as this is a very different system from all the other MMOs on the market. There are 3 factions in this game. You start off and you either choose East or West, which live on the East or West continents. So what sets this faction system apart from other MMOs out there? Well, to start off with, you're not necessarily locked into the faction that you choose at the start for the rest of your game. And there is also a 3rd faction, which I'll get onto in a second, because the PvP system in this is one of the most immense and exciting things about ArcheAge that I love so much. So as similar with other faction-based MMOs, if you run into another faction out in the world, they'll be red to you, they'll be attackable, and you can fight and you can duel and you can kill each other. But there is also a system in this called flagging up. When in certain PvP-enabled areas, you can actually flag up, and that means that you are hostile to your own faction. Meaning that if you're out in the world and you see that one guy that's always being rude to you, or he stole something from you one time, or whatever, you just want to kill him, you can flag up and attack him and potentially kill him. But why would you do that? Why would you attack someone from your own faction? Someone that you can talk to, you can understand their language and all of that stuff, and someone that you're going to be playing with every single day that you're going to be walking around next to. Well, that brings us to the trade system and to the crime system. So the way that ArcheAge makes the world feel alive is due to the trading system and actually having a reason to transport stuff around the world. In ArcheAge, an absolutely fantastic feature is that there are housing zones all around the map, and you can actually go and live on a spot on the map and also put down your house and put down a little farm. ArcheAge also uses a resource system which is called labor, and you gain labor just over time, and you can spend that labor to do additional things in the game. You can do crafting, you can upgrade items and stuff like this. And this is a way that ArcheAge actually manages to make it so that you've got a reason to craft stuff, and when you do craft stuff, it actually has worth and it actually has meaning, because you're taking labor out of the economy from your character and actually making something that's actually cost you something to make. You also have farming in this game, and you can plant trees and stuff like that, and labor is also used to harvest all of those items and to also process the materials. So once you have farmed your materials and you've got enough stuff, you can take it to a place where you can then convert it into a trade pack. Now, once you've made a trade pack, you cannot run, you cannot sprint, you cannot go super fast. You've got this big bulky pack on your back you've got to walk around with, and if you die, that gets dropped on the ground, and all of the stuff that you farmed and the money that you spent to actually make that pack is gone. So imagine you farmed up a bunch of materials, you've also used some money, and you go up to this thing, this trade bench, and you make a trade pack. You can't drop it on the ground. Well, you can drop it on the ground, but someone else can pick it up. And if someone kills you, they can pick it up and take the fruits of your labor and then take it off and try and make some money with it. The trade system has changed a bit since the last time that I played, but that's just the basic of it. You get materials, you make them into trade packs, you transport them across the world. This is how you make money, this is how you get resources, and with everyone in the world doing this, traveling across seas and all stuff like that, that really does make the world feel alive, and also gives you all of these opportunities when out and about to actually see people running these and to try and kill them and to try and steal it off them. ArcheAge is a very cutthroat game. So getting back to that example where we're talking about PvP and our own faction, if you imagine you are in a PvP contested area and you see a person from your faction carrying a trade pack on their back, you can flag up and you can murder them, and you can then pick up that pack and then try and take it on the rest of the journey, try and make it to the hand in and try and make some money from it. But why would they make it so you can attack your own faction? It just makes no sense. Well, there is a crime system in the game, there is a jury system in the game, and there is a jail system in the game to punish players for bad behavior. When killing a player on your faction or committing a crime, you will leave some bloodstains or some footprints on the ground, which can then be found by another player in the game, and they can then report it to the authorities. When you've committed enough crimes and enough crimes have been reported, then you become wanted. So what does that mean? Well, if you have enough crime points, the next time that you die in PvP, you'll be automatically drawn to the jail, where you'll have to wait for a jury of your actual peers. This is a jury system where you will go up and you'll actually appear in-game in the jailhouse, and in front of you will be 4 jurors of actual players. These players will get drawn in, teleported in from around the world to come and serve their jury duty. And during this, you can see all of the crimes that you've committed, you can see any notes that people left behind, and you get a couple of minutes here to try and persuade the jury to try and set you free or to try and make you go innocent. Now, as I said, this game is cutthroat, so you can do whatever you want here. You can try and bribe them, you can try and promise them things, and also the trial system is broadcast across the entire faction. So every single person on the faction can see the trial going on in their chat log, and they can see, you know, the fun times that people have. Sometimes people RP, sometimes people go there that are well known on the server and the entire server erupts. It's just a crazy system. So anyway, if you do get found guilty, if you weren't able to persuade people to give you the innocent vote, you will get sent to prison for a certain amount of time based on the amount of crimes that you committed. Now, the amount of time that you're in there can vary absolutely massively. Sometimes you get 8 minutes, but I've seen people get 12 hours before. This is 12 hours of real game time. You need to have your character logged in, sitting in jail, doing essentially basically nothing for those hours. And even if you do manage to escape the jail, which you can, people can help you escape, or you can escape yourself. Even if you get out, you have a debuff on you that means that you cannot fight, you cannot really do anything apart from sit around town, do a bit of playing on the auction house and stuff like that. So the crime system is there to try and punish people and actually make it so that flagging up and attacking your own faction is something that you're only going to do if it's worth. So earlier I mentioned that there was the third faction, and this has to do with the crime system. If you kill so many of your own faction and you commit so many crimes that you get 2,000 crime points, you will be kicked out of the faction. You will no longer be East, you will no longer be West, you'll be hostile to both of those, and you'll be moved to a third faction called the Pirates. Now, ArcheAge has a huge game world with plenty of oceans, plenty of islands, plenty of seas, and if you become a pirate, you cannot go onto the landmasses and die. If you are a pirate and you go to the landmasses of either East or West and you get killed, you will go to jail instantly for 40 minutes. This meaning that obviously you're not a landlubber, you're not someone who wants to go onto the landmasses unless you can really help it, and the seas are pretty much your place to roam. The pirates get their very own faction and island in the top of the seas where they can go and they can put some houses down and they can live together. But honestly, the pirates are always the bad boys of the server. You always seem to see the really, really strong players, the really good players who've been playing this for a long time, seem to go into the pirate faction and just cause absolute havoc. So pirates are something that you should be really goddamn scared of. Okay, so now that I've jizzed a little bit about why I love ArcheAge and why I think it's a great game and why it's been super fun, I want to talk about why I'm not playing ArcheAge right now. So ArcheAge's server and community is really where the game really prospers and why it is such a, I don't know, such an interesting, strange game. Players who make a name for themselves on the server will be well known. Guilds are so very important, and having friends and people to chat to is so important in this game because a lot of it is really cooperative. It's not a solo game, it's more of a teamwork game. There are always going to be situations where people in your guild have got into a sticky situation, or if they've found someone transporting a trade pack and they've killed them and they're like, dude, I need help, you know, I need help, I've got this materials, we need to go and hand it in, we're gonna make some money, I'll split it with you, etc. Having a guild and having friends is just so damn important. Now, apart from guilds, there's this thing called the family system, and a family is like a mini guild, but it's got nothing to do with your guild. You can invite up to 9 of your friends to be in the family with you, and the family gets their own little chat room where they can talk to each other privately. There are also a bunch of daily family quests, so if you go out with your mates, you can go and do stuff that takes more than one person to achieve. And also, if you have farmland or you have a house and stuff that needs tending, you've got crops that need planting, you can share all of your property with your family so that they can actually take care of stuff while you're AFK and protect your stuff and just maintain it. The guild also has a progression system where you can level it up, where you get bonuses for everyone in the guild. It also gives you extra ability to invite more people and stuff like that and expand the guild. And damn, it's just the community that really gets me. Having people in the guild, in the family, trying to achieve stuff, trying to help each other out, it just feels so good. It just feels so, I don't know, it just feels so social. I love it. Also, with ArcheAge Unchained, we are getting the 6.0 patch, which comes with a new class. So, I said before that there are 9 classes in ArcheAge, and you can make 165 combinations. Well, they're adding in an extra new one, which I believe is adding like 50 different combinations to the game. So this is the first time since I've been playing where they've actually added in a brand new class, and it's gonna, I know it's gonna change a lot of stuff because there's suddenly gonna be all of these new builds, all of these new abilities, and all these new combos. In ArcheAge, spells combo with each other. If you set someone on fire and then use an ice spell, it's gonna thaw and it's gonna make a special effect. And comboing these abilities, even with your teammates and with your friends in the game, can all come together to make beautiful things. So with this new talent tree coming in, I'm interested to see all the different things it's gonna combo with, the different builds that are gonna become favorable, the good builds, the shit builds. It's super exciting. Another incredibly awesome thing about ArcheAge that I really personally love to bits is the seas and the boat system. Now, as this is sort of a piratey game, there are a lot of oceans to travel, and obviously because there's a lot of trading, taking stuff across oceans is necessary. And boats are one of the greatest things about ArcheAge. There are several different types of boats, and you can customize these boats, you can put your own image on the sails, you can upgrade the sails to make them faster, and make it so that you can get around the seas, you can equip weapons onto them. There are gigantic trade ships, there are galleons, massive pirate ships with loads of cannons on them. Sea warfare is a big deal. If you catch a trade ship crossing the ocean and they've got 20 plus trade packs on there, and you can actually manage to go and attack that ship, kill the people, destroy the ship, take all the trade packs, you can then go and hand them in and make the money. And those people have gone and spent money, spent resources to make these, and then you've just killed them and taken them, and the profit is now yours. This gives a really interesting like risk versus reward thing to the game. If you're running a trade pack and you're doing it in a PvP zone, there is a chance that someone's going to kill you and they're going to take it off you and they're going to hand it in, and you're going to only get a little fraction from them handing it in. And previously on ArcheAge, the seas have been absolutely alive with players. Trade has been thriving, the economy is one of the main focuses of this game, and everyone wants to make money. So let's consider this for a second. You are a player that is fairly well known on the server for being a good person. You know, everyone seems to like you, you're fun, you help people out and stuff like that. You're traveling a trade pack through a zone where you can be attacked by your own faction if they choose to. Now, if a player runs up and they see that it's you and, you know, they like you, there's a pretty low chance they're going to try and attack you and steal your shit. But if you are someone that is a bit of a dickhead, you're someone who's known for actually committing crimes and for taking stuff that's not necessarily yours, then people may see you and they may, you know, talk to their guild and say, hey, look, this fucking dickhead's moving a trade pack. Come over here, let's go kill him. It really adds a little layer of intensity and intrepidation and sort of the unknowing. If you see another player while you're carrying something that's worth, are they gonna go and call their friends? Are you gonna get ganked? Like, what's gonna happen? It's just so exciting. It's so weird, and anything can happen, and it just gives you a freedom that you don't see in other MMOs and you don't see in other games. ArcheAge is also a game that's not made for babies. There is no babying from the GMs. Scamming and stuff like that in this game is legal. It's something that you can do. If someone falls for it and falls for your scam, then that's their own fuck up. For example, in World of Warcraft, if you do a dungeon run and you say at the start, oh, if this item drops, you can have it, and then you get to the end and you take it, the other players could go to the GMs and say, look, we had a verbal agreement here. This person said that they were going to give me this. They didn't, and then the GMs will sort it out. There is none of that baby shit in ArcheAge. ArcheAge is a cutthroat world. If you fall for a scam and you get scammed by someone, unlucky, you've learned from that, don't do it next time. And by having systems like this in the game, it adds so much intensity and complexity and just depth to the actual social situation and the community. Now, along with the economy, along with the world and leveling up and making money and stuff like that, there are also dungeons, there are PvE dungeons, there are some PvE raids, and there are also a lot of PvP events around the world that happen regularly during the day. These are either gigantic, massive scale battles where there are hundreds of players on each side, or naval arenas where you go in and fight with boats. And then there's also an in-depth arena system with rankings and rewards for ranking and stuff like that. Mastering your abilities and your combos and stuff like that will allow you to figure out how to fight certain players, certain builds. You know, you'll see someone's got sorcery and you'll know they're going to be trying to do range stuff, so you're going to have to try and play to fight and beat the ranged playstyle. It's just amazing, really. It's just amazing. My love for this game is absolutely incredible. But what if you are someone who doesn't like PvP? You're not a big PvPer, you're not really into conflict, you're not really into fighting. Is there still stuff that you can do in ArcheAge? There absolutely is. There are a lot of zones in the game where PvP is not enabled. You can put down your farm, you can grow, you know, whatever you want to grow. You can then harvest that and then use that to make money. And trade packs, what I was talking about earlier, that are very cutthroat and can be very dangerous. You can run these through safe routes, ways that you will not be able to be attacked, where you can do a guaranteed run, where you're going to be able to make some money by putting in some time and using some resources, and you're not actually going to have a chance to lose that. Personally, I am all about the high danger stuff. I'm all about the high risk, high reward. I love actually the thrill and the adrenaline rush that you get when suddenly you see that someone's chasing after you and you've got a trade pack on your back, or you're on a boat and there's another boat coming up behind you and they're moving a bit faster than you, and holy shit, they're going to catch up with you. Are they going to be able to board your boat? Are they going to be able to kill you? Are they going to take your stuff? It just is so intense. Your heart will be racing all the time playing ArcheAge. So when ArcheAge first came along for the West in 2014 on the alpha, there was no cash shop or anything. They were obviously testing the game, so you weren't able to spend money, you weren't able to buy stuff on the marketplace, etc, etc. You were just playing the game as it was meant to be played, and just playing it, just literally just playing it. But when ArcheAge did finally come around and anyone could buy it and anyone could play it, there were some serious issues, and that is pretty much all down to the people who make the game, the Korean developers XL Games, and also Tryon Worlds, who are publishing it for the West. If you've ever heard of ArcheAge before, you've probably heard that it's very pay to win. You've probably heard that it's just a big cash grab game, and that really was the truth of the matter. Similar to how you can buy WoW tokens in World of Warcraft, you could buy a thing called Apex, which people could then buy for credits in the game and could also buy to pay for their subscription. You could essentially just go onto the store, buy some of these for real money, put them on the auction house and sell them for huge amounts of gold. Also up on the marketplace, where you buy credits for real money, there were insane items that really were just essential to you being able to gear up. And the people who were way ahead, the people who were smart, the whales and stuff just pulled miles ahead, and the imbalance here made it so that it was really hard to play ArcheAge for more than really 3 months after a new server opened, before it just got really stale and the pay to win was going completely out of control, and it just wasn't really fun anymore, at least for me and the majority of people that play this game. And since the original launch, they've been trying to get this game right. It's launched 3 separate times on different fresh starts. Fresh starts being where they make a new server where no one from the other servers can go on there, and you start off at literally level 0 on a completely empty server and build up, and everyone builds their houses and places stuff, and it's honestly one of the most intense and fun and crazy exciting times of gaming that I've ever experienced in my life. And it's always so much fun when it starts off, and then the pay to win starts to leak in, and it gets worse and worse until eventually everyone just quits because you can't keep up with the people who are spending thousands of pounds and are way ahead of everyone else. So why am I excited about what's coming up? Well, we have ArcheAge Unchained coming up, and Tryon Worlds, the people who used to publish this game, they got bought out by Gamingo. Now, this is a big gaming corporation, and they bought Tryon Worlds thinking that some of their properties and some of their games would be profitable and would be able to be manipulated and made into something that's actually going to work. And they're trying their best to do it here. They're trying their best to make ArcheAge a game, an MMO, that will actually be sustainable for people, a lot of people, to play for years and years to come. They have made a lot of promises here and a lot of announcements, and I am so goddamn excited for this. I can't even really put it into words. And pretty much all the other people that I ever played ArcheAge with, or anyone that's ever played ArcheAge before, has looked at these and gone like, holy fucking shit, this could actually make ArcheAge work. So previously, ArcheAge was a free-to-play game. Anyone could make an account, anyone could play, but there was also an optional subscription that you could pay along with that, which gave you a bunch of different abilities, the ability to place houses, the ability to use the auction house, and stuff like this. And because it was free-to-play, and with the labor resource system that we have in ArcheAge, this made it very profitable for people to actually run multiple accounts. I see people running up to 10 accounts, all doing stuff together, all trying to use all this labor, and trying to make it so that basically they have an advantage over other players, due to the fact that they've got so many different accounts that they can just log on to and use to do various things. And with the system where I mentioned Apex earlier, where you can buy Apex with real money and put it onto the auction house and sell it, this Apex can also be used for players that are playing free-to-play to buy with gold and then apply to their account and actually activate the subscription, but without actually paying real money. So essentially what a person would do is they'd have one account and they would pay the subscription on that, and then they would use that to make money, and then they would get a subscription for free on their second account, and then so forth and so forth. They'd keep making money, keep buying these Apex, get subscriptions, and then make it so that they essentially had like 5 or 10 actual paid, well not paid, but subscriptioned up accounts with all of these benefits. And let me say, as someone who doesn't really like multi-boxing, doesn't like loads of alts, I just want to play one character, I hated this. It ruined the game pretty much for me. So how are they going to be changing ArcheAge to actually make this not a massive ball ache? Well, ArcheAge Unchained, with the new version, which is going to be very separate from the old version, is not going to be free to play. There is not going to be a subscription. Instead, it's going to be a one-time purchase to be able to buy your account. Now, these accounts start at $25, and there's not really anything beneficial from the higher tiers, apart from a bunch of cosmetics and stuff like that. And these accounts come as if they had a permanent subscription on them. So basically, you buy the game once, and you've got it forever. You've got a subscription forever, and you're on an even playing field with everyone else, and you never have to pay any more money into the game. Now, this is going to mean a few things. It's going to mean that there are less people running alts, because each alt that they have is going to have cost them real money. It's going to mean actual cheating and duping and gold selling and any of the things that are against the terms of service for MMOs. That's going to be a lot rarer, because if someone's doing this crap and then they get banned, they've just lost $25 from doing that action. So I think it will really cut down on the amount of people trying to cheat the system. Now, already from these couple of changes, not being able to buy Apex and also not being able to have tons of characters, that is going to mean that the economy is going to work so much better. And this really is an economy-based game. Like, the economy is a huge part of it, and making sure the economy stays stable is one of the things about maintaining the fun in ArcheAge. But on previous launches and fresh starts, because Apex was still viable with real money, the economy would spiral out of control so goddamn fast, it was absolutely sickening. But now that essentially buying gold is not really going to be a thing unless you're going through a third-party gold seller, which is not allowed, it means that gold is going to mean something. It's going to mean that doing trade runs is actually going to make you money, and it's going to be very important, which means that the world is going to be alive with people running trade runs all the time, trying to make cash, trying to make money to do stuff in the game. Unlike previous ArcheAge fresh starts and releases, there is not going to be a cash shop which has got loads of super powerful stuff that you can literally just buy and make your character get stronger. The only thing that you're going to be able to buy for actual real money is going to be cosmetics in the game. Now, this is a huge change from what it used to be. Before, you could just buy a bunch of stuff with real money and then put it on the auction house and sell it and make a bunch of money, or just upgrade your character, etc. But now the only way to be able to do that is just going to be by playing the game. They've introduced an Arc Pass, which is just a battle pass from other games, and basically the free track actually rewards you for playing the game regularly and playing it often and achieving things. It's going to give us a new currency called diligence tokens, and these are going to be used to buy the items that used to be on the marketplace. So the way to buy the stuff, the super good stuff that you could sell, you could upgrade your character with, that's only going to be unlockable by actually playing your character and doing achievements and doing dailies and doing stuff in the game and actually playing and earning them. There are also additional premium passes on the Arc Pass where you can pay money, but the only thing you're going to be unlocking there are cosmetics. And there are a lot of cosmetics in this game, and some of them are fucking incredible. So I love this. I really like this system. Going buy to play, no subscription, no WoW token, Apex stuff. I'm super excited. They are also reverting back to a system where they used to have, where they're using anti-cheat to make sure that people cannot multi-box. At some point, we had people running, 10 accounts on one computer, all just following each other, just completing tasks, and just made it super unfair. They're making it now so that you can only have 3 accounts per IP address, and you can only have 1 account running per computer. So if you wanted to have 3 accounts running at once, you need to have 3 different computers all running a copy of ArcheAge. With less people playing in this scummy way where they're trying to take advantage of the economy and stuff like that, it makes it so that everyone's going to be on a much more even playing field. It's going to mean that gold actually means something. It's going to mean that reputation actually means something. It's going to mean so many things for this game. I can't even start to wrap my head around this shit. And another thing that's happening in Unchained is that because there is no Apex, there is no reason for people to play both EU and NA. People would go around and use their labor on the North American servers to farm stuff up, get resources, and then sell that on the auction house so that then they could make money, then they could buy an Apex from the auction house, use it, get the credits, and then spend the credits on their EU account. But due to the fact that Apex is no longer a thing, this shouldn't be a thing at all. There's no reason that people will be doing this, which will also mean there'll be less bloat on the server from people multi-boxing both NA and EU. And instead of usual ArcheAge where you see alts running around everywhere, pretty much running around, you should predominantly only see people's main characters. If you ask me, this is insanely exciting. I can't wait for Unchained. It's coming on September 30th. And if they do this correctly, ArcheAge could actually be a sustainable MMO that can be played for years to come. Look at RuneScape. RuneScape has been doing well for years and years and years. Look at WoW Classic. They've just brought that back. That game is not even that great. I mean, it's nice and nostalgic, but it's not the greatest game out there. But if they manage to make ArcheAge sustainable, it's going to be my favorite game for years to come. I would love to be able to play this game for years without getting bored or without the scale of the server going completely out of control and people just becoming insanely powerful because they've got a lot of money in real life. It's actually going to be an even playing field, and if you put a lot of time into the game and play with friends and you're social and you've got a good guild, you're actually going to prosper and you're going to have such a good time. To anyone out there that has played ArcheAge in the past and you see this coming up and you're like, get involved, really look into it, get excited because this could be fantastic. I'm pretty sure if you know anyone that's ever played ArcheAge and you ask them, hey, was ArcheAge good? They will say, that game was goddamn incredible, but the devs ruined it. The devs made it pay to win and they flushed the game down the toilet. But now we have new developers, we've got a new lease on life, a new prospect going forwards to actually make it sustainable, and I really, really, really welcome all of you to come and try this game on September 30th. Come and party down. It's going to be a great, great time. Some of you won't like it, but some of you will fall in love with it. And I've honestly had some of my best gaming experiences, my most memorable moments ever in gaming in my entire life. I'm 32 years old now from this game, and I am super excited for it to come back. For anyone that's actually listened to this gigantic rant all the way to the end, thank you very much. I just wanted to have a little bit of an excited splooge over this because I'm super excited for what's coming. Been having like a really, really shit year, and this really is what I needed to try and perk me up and try and get me back into the rhythm of things and just get me excited about stuff. All right, have a great day, everyone. I will see you in game.